Everyone is selling a film look, but real film is not just a LUT, it's a system. In this video, I will show you how to build a completely free professional film emulation pipeline inside DaVinci Resolve that can outperform any DCTL or plugin out there. Everything we are using is already built into Resolve. Let's build it. Before we touch a single node, there's a fundamental issue we need to solve. Film is display refer and it was designed to project directly into screen. But modern color grading inside DaVinci Wide Gamut or ACES is scene referred. So when you drop a film print LUT into color manage workflow, it fight your output transform. That's why most film LUT crush, highlight or look completely broken on certain footage. The solution is to build a symmetrical pipeline that account for both ends of the chain. I have some ARRI footage. I'll bring all three in a single group. In the group reclip, I'll bring my color space transform and label this IDT. I set the input transform to convert from ARRI Wide Gamut log C3 into DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate, which is our working color space. And in the group post clip, I'll bring another color space transform and label this ODT. We transform back out to Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 for display. Now we properly convert our footage to Rec 709 Gamma 2.4. I'm going to temporarily disable the output transform while we building this chain. We will reconnect it cleanly at the end. Make another node before your output transform. The core of this workflow is color space called ADX. It's built right into DaVinci Resolve and it was designed specifically to characterize the negative behavior of film negative. It's exactly what we need. First, add a color space transform node. Set the input to DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate and the output to ACES AP0 Linear. We are bridging our working color space into linear ACES domain. Next, add a ACES transform node. Leave the input as no input transform, so it reads directly from your previous node. ACES AP0 linear output. For the output, select ADX 10 CSC. Now our footage is properly in negative space. And that's it. So now we are going to convert our footage to positive by using our print film look LUTs. Go to LUTs, then film look. You will see Kodak 2383 and Fuji print LUTs. There are three variants. D55 is for warmer, D65 is for cooler, and D60 is for neutral tone. I'll go with Kodak 2383 D60. A lot of people dismiss this LUT because they ship free with the software, and that's a mistake. These are some of the most technical accurate print film LUT available here. Let's admire what it does. Soft organic contrast, beautiful skin tone rendering, highlight roll off naturally, nothing is clipping and nothing is underexposed. That's the negative to positive print process working exactly the way it was designed to, and we did not finish it yet. Now we need to re-enable our output transform without destroying the image. After the print film LUT node, add one final color space transform and set it to convert from Rec 709 Gamma 2.4 back into DaVinci Wide Gamut Intermediate. This sends the signal back to our output transform is exactly the color space is expect. The film is now closed and symmetrical, and we got a proper film emulation workflow sitting cleanly inside a scene refer grading workflow, and we are not done yet. Before we call this done, we need to audit every single node. A workflow that look great on one shot but break on another is not a workflow, it's an accident. I'm going to apply a grayscale ramp DCTL before the ACES transform so we can see exactly how each node is manipulating the signal. You can download this DCTL from the description. On the ACES transform, you will notice value spike above 1000 on the waveform. This is not clipping. You are moving into linear domain with much wider range than 1000. That's expected and correct. The real issue show up on the ADX node. When it's mapped from linear into negative space, some highlight information get hard clip. It might look fine on your test shot, but on the footage with bright tungsten light or lens flare or heavily saturated reds, it will break. And here's the fix. Go back into ACES transform node and change the tone mapping method to DaVinci, and then raise the custom max output till the highlight roll off gently. Somewhere around 2000 nits is solid starting point. Watch your scope and tune it with per project. Re-enable the print film node, no clipping, smooth roll off through highlight and shadow. One thing you might notice, there's a slight roughness in the curves after the print LUTs. That's because the LUT we are using is a 17 cube LUT, so the transitions are not smooth. It's a technical limitation and in practice completely invisible in the final image. Now this is the last CST node. This is where we need to be careful. What we are doing here is going from display space back to scene space. Basically we are taking the image that the print LUT compressed down for display, so we are gently stretching it back out so the output transform can read it properly. And the way we do this matter, set the tone mapping to luminance mapping, custom max input to 100. Now for the output, you might think, let's just push it as high as possible, get all the dynamic range back. But if you go too high, look at the top of the curve on the waveform. It start get chunky, jagged. That's not what we want here. What we are looking for is the highest output value where the curve still stays smooth. And for this workflow with the film print LUTs, that's the sweet spot is usually somewhere around 600 to 650 nits. So dial it in there, keep that curve clean and we are good to move forward. So let's take a step back and understand what we actually built here. We start with our color manage project. In the group pre-clip, we bring our camera footage into DaVinci Wide Gamut, our working color space. Then in node 1, we take that DaVinci Wide Gamut signal, convert it into ACES AP0 linear, just bridging into linear domain so the next node can work with it properly. Node 2 is our ACES transform. This is where we push the footage to negative space. This is the key step. Without this, we are not doing real film emulation. We are just applying a LUT on top of regular footage. Node 3 is the Kodak 2383 print LUT. This is where the magic happens. It takes the negative, prints it exactly the way a real film print stock would, negative to positive. And in node 4, we are converting from Rec 709 back to DaVinci Wide Gamut intermediate. Our output transform can close the loop cleanly and deliver the correct display output. If you want to take it further with the actual film texture, you can emulate only film texture with the Summer Fade Light version 1.5. Don't worry, it's a completely free DCTL, so put this as the final node in the chain. We only want to emulate film texture, so I will enable the checkbox film texture only. Now enable film grain and halation checkbox. Grain strength control overall intensity of grain. Grain color lets you add per channel RGB grain for more organic look. Halation add that warm glowing bloom you get on the film highlight. Gate Weave give you subtle horizontal instability like projector running a slightly worn print. And film damage add hair, dust, scratch for that age archival film. Here's the before and after. This is the complete system. No paid plugin, no shortcut, a proper film emulation pipeline built the right way, using real negative and print stock logic. If you find this video informative, drop a like. The Summer Fade Light is linked in the description. See you in the next one.